entitled Half Nelson. And the reason I'm playing that for you is just that I like to play it. And it demonstrates a lot of things that we need to be working on as jazz players. And also gives me an opportunity to talk about a number of elements that are important for you to know when you play. Anybody ever heard that tune before? I know you recognize, or someone recognized it at the thing this morning.
Yeah, but he's not actually a teacher.
It's under a Half Nelson. That's what that one is. But the other tune is called Lady Bird, not Lazy Bird. Lazy Bird is a tune by John Coltrane. But it's a bebop tune. It has a progression that's relatively standard in some ways, but not in others, because it has a lot of formula. And so we're going to talk about all that and how it applies to you in practicing. So what I'd like to do today is spend this time, and we're going to play a little bit at the end of it, but spend some time talking about how to practice, what to practice, how to use your time efficiently. Does that sound like it's something we could all use?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Use the most probably.
How many do you practice every day?
I mean, I'd like it to be actually every day. Yeah.
Every day. Raise your hand. Be truthful. Okay, and it's okay if you don't practice every day. Some days, I didn't practice yesterday because I was in an airplane. But there's some days you can't play. But it's important to play as much as you can. Because playing an instrument is not that much different than being an athlete. If you're going to run the marathon, right? You don't try running the marathon the day before you want to run the marathon, right? You work up to it. And you work up to it in a way that's going to be productive and not try to do it all at once. So what happens with most saxophone players, we tend to get waylaid in doing things we like to do and not what we need to do. All of a sudden we have to do something and we try to cram in what we need to practice in at the last minute, and it's, it doesn't work. So what I think about when I teach is that when I'm working with anybody, a student or a friend, or we're just talking about stuff, I like to think of the conversation as being where I take your head, I open it up, okay, like a surgeon. I get your brain and kind of do this to it, right? And I put it back in, and then you're thinking differently. So my job as a teacher, as an educator, as a friend, or somebody that wants you to improve, is to get you to think. I don't want you to think like me. You don't want to be inside my head. I'm being funny here, but no, I want you to be you. I want you to know what works for you and what is productive for you. Because what might work for you may not work for me, may not work for her. But the likelihood, most of what we need to do is going to be universal. Does that make sense? Yeah? How many of you speak English well enough that I can keep talking? Okay. All right. Good. I just want to make sure. If I go too quickly, let me know. If I say something that's not understandable, let me know. So the whole idea is to find what's going to be productive for you to get the most out of the time you have to play. Because nothing's worse, like I mentioned this morning, than practicing, and the next thing you know, you're in your practice time and you don't remember what you played. We've all been there, we do it, or we get fixated on one thing. So how do we do that? So what I've done, and this again, it's on my website, and you're more than welcome. Is this going to come up again? Please.
Yeah, it should. Still.
So I'll show you where to go to find all this. There we go. You want to go to michaeltracy.com, okay? And you're welcome to look at anything on here, but like I said, in another couple of weeks, this is all going to look very different. You're going to go over to the education materials. All right? You're going to click on that. It'll come up to this screen. You're going to want to scroll down. And again, this will all be consolidated in a better way for you to find it. Like this morning, we talked about this. Okay? You go down a little, and then we talked about transcription. We can talk about that here too. That's important. Saxophone equipment, we talked about that this morning. Remember that? And then those master saxophone bios. Here's what we're going to talk about now. Okay? There are a couple of different things here that are really important. The vehicle tune type. That's about how to pick songs, how to select the material you want to play. And it's translated here. That's why I asked you if it needed to be translated into Spanish and Portuguese. Here's another one, a checklist for study and practice, things to consider. That's what we're going to focus on today. So let's look at things to consider. Come on. Do you talk to your computer too?
Yeah.
I talk about it all the time, and it's not listening to me. Well, maybe it's not connected. Oh, hold on a second. It's working. Let's try it again. Come on. It's going. Here we go. And sorry for this. There we go. It's going to come up.
Yeah.
We're good. So you can print this out as a PDF or look on your computer. So what I've done here is a list, when it finally comes up, of things, exactly what it says, things to consider. Things that you need to be thinking about when you are practicing or about to practice or your approach to practicing. Come on. Okay, I'll just go ahead. It'll come up in a second. For example, when is the best time of day for you to play? As I mentioned this morning,
Like
I didn't play first thing in the morning very much when I was younger. When I was your age, I would play at like 8 o'clock at night to 2 in the morning, something of that nature. But it's important. When do you like to practice? Let's start out. Let's go here now. In the morning?
Yes, in the morning, the best. Till noon is the best.
Yeah, well now for me it doesn't matter anymore. It's when I have time. But there was a time where getting in the morning and practicing, that just wasn't my thing. It was at night. But you need to know that. We'll get to that point. But let's start off in this little page. You can see it now. Do you have a plan? Do you set goals for yourselves? Now this sounds, oh yeah, of course I do that. No, most people don't. They don't do that. They just get their horn out, slap on a reed, and start to blow. No, what do you expect to accomplish? That's a good way. It's like, I want to do this. I want to learn that tune. Say if you want to learn Half Nelson or Lady Bird. I want to learn that tune. That's a goal. A specific goal. Or, I want to be able to improvise on that tune in a convincing manner. For example, when I just improvised on it in my head, in my ear, I'm hearing the chord changes go by. I can hear the harmony happening. I can sit when I'm playing, and whether I'm hearing the chord changes, you know. I hear that in my head. My job then is to be able to play lines that outline those chord changes so clearly that you can hear those chords going without someone at the piano. That's a great sounding piano too. That you can hear those chords. That is a goal. That's a real specific goal. That's a very difficult challenge that I work on all the time now. I encourage you to play on records, to play with people all the time. But the real challenge is to sit down and play a song by yourself and make all the chords sound without anybody playing with you. Because then when someone is playing with you, you can play together. You're not depending upon them, they're not depending upon you, but you have the joy of playing together as one. So I set goals. Then you have to determine, is that goal realistic? Or is the goal, say for example, you wanted to play that last song, Half Nelson. If you can't play the melody, that's where you start. All right? You really aren't ready to improvise yet if you can't play the melody. So that's a goal that you got to make sure you set up. So you don't want your goals to be so unattainable that you can't make them. Does that make sense to you? It's like I want to touch the ceiling. That's a stupid, unattainable goal. I can't jump that high. I never could have jumped that high. No one in this room could. That's crazy. But if I had just a little bit outside my reach, all I have to do is learn how to stretch, and maybe then that's attainable goal. Is it realistic? All these things are important to judge. And you don't have to spend hours doing this. It doesn't take forever. You get used to it. I want to set this goal. Are you trying to accomplish too much? Too often we try to do too much. It's better to have fewer goals, to attain them, and to build on them. How many of you grew up playing with Legos? My kids did. I didn't. I had Lincoln Logs, and it was different. But it's the same principle. You have little things and you build stuff, right? You didn't start building the Star Wars, Battlestar before you could build the small ones. You worked your way up to it. It's no different than this either. Yeah, come on in. So you want to make sure your goals are attainable, they're realistic, and something that's going to help you. Then, as I mentioned before, when do you like to practice? When do you like to feel like practicing? How do you inspire yourself? Somebody asked a question today, it might have been you. When you don't feel like playing, what do you do? I'm asking you a question. What do you do when you don't feel like playing? Do you make yourself do it?
Yeah, kind of.
Is that productive?
I mean, if there's really no other way to play, then I guess it's better than just wasting time, right?
Would you be wasting time if you don't feel like practicing? These are loaded questions.
I mean, yeah, if I don't have any other like time slot in a day for practicing, then, well, that's just my chance going by.
And you can't
But-
time shift the time, use it some other way.
Well,
Yeah, that's something I would
out of
force.
other things, right?
I would force myself to play. But then I found out later on, I wasn't getting as much accomplished as if I just didn't play. I'm not saying not practicing. I would find a way to shift when I was playing to some other time of the day when I really felt like I could focus on it. I'd rather have 30 minutes of completely focused practice time than an hour of saying, I really don't want to be here playing. I'm not going to get much done that way. But you have to decide that. Remember I said, this is not me, it's you. The other thing that inspires me, like I mentioned this morning, I go put on a recording that I love. I want to sound like that person. I want to play that kind of music. I want to be like that. That turns me on to want to do it. So you have to have triggers. You know what a trigger is?
Yeah.
Something that pushes your button that makes you want to do something. You have to learn that. I can't tell you that. But again, I'm trying to manipulate your brain to make you think differently. So you got to figure out what turns you on to playing. I can't answer that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question because you started saying, you started immediately from the tune. But I mean, in your practicing for many years, are you, when you're thinking about the sound, I mean, any kind of stretching things on the beginning about the sound really? Do you spending the time, or you were spend the time like first 20 or 30 minutes, you just going how to warm up or stretching well the most? Is it you putting always to your list?
Yeah, no, the thing we're talking about, not just getting you started. What you do will be in a minute. Yes,
Okay, so-
we do that. No, it's okay, it's a good question. Because what she was asking, do you work on your sound? You do this? Yes, of course. But now we're just trying to get you to start playing. All right, but that's a goal. That's a procedure you may wish to go through. The next thing is, what is most effective for you? How do you practice? How do you know when you accomplish? How can you do these things? Have you ever practiced but not accomplished much? We've all been there. We've all done that. All right? How much time? What's the outcome of time? How many people play 4 hours a day? I'm lying. I don't do that anymore because I can't. I mean, not because I physically can't do it, but mentally, I'm not there anymore. And that's something I've had to learn to accept. If I get a couple hours in a day, I'm really happy. But I tell you what, I'm busting it. I'm playing the whole solid hour or 2 hours where I'm really working at it. Then, like I said, I play this job on Sundays. It's great. Someone's paying me to practice. I get to call whatever songs I want to call, whatever tempo, whatever key. No one cares. They're sitting at the bar. They're enjoying the time. They're gambling, and I'm sitting there playing tunes. And it's like there's two different worlds. Okay, so 3 hours of doing that's fantastic. I would do it every day if I could. But the thing is, you got to be what you're doing is it effective?
But excuse me, just interrupt.
Uh-huh.
But this is how a human brain works. You know, you can be focused 1.5 or maximum 2 hours. Then you just need to break because you cannot be focused at all.
Exactly. When I was in college, I would go in the practice room at night, and I would sit there 4 hours. I can't tell you how many times I was playing alto. Let's say, for example, I'm working on. I had to do 2 farrellings a week, and I had to kill them. This guy made me. I had to have it. I can't tell you how many times I would wake up. My elbow is inside the bell of the horn. I'm like this, and I fall asleep because I was tired. I couldn't focus. I can't. So it wasn't very productive. So, do you want to practice 4 hours at a shot? Do you break it up in increments? What do you do? Well, for example, for me now, I'll go down and my horn is always out. And I'm lucky I have a place where I can play and no one ever complains. My wife doesn't complain. My kids are gone. I can do whatever I want. I've always could do that, but I can do that. I play 20 minutes, 30 minutes, go away, come back again. So it's a lot about, and you've discovered this too, I'm sure by now, a lot of it's just space time. You gotta have the horn in your mouth. It's like running that marathon. You gotta play. You gotta do that. So you might want to do that. So when do you feel like you can play? Morning, afternoon. You got to decide that. Magnet's a morning person. I'm still more of an evening person. But I can play during the day, and it's okay. I can get it done. You got to figure that out. When do you have time? When your classes allow you to do it? Do you do it every day at the same time? Some people are that rigid. I'm doing it every day from 11 to 12:30. No, I don't care what comes up. That works for you, that works for you. That doesn't work for me. But you gotta figure it out, and there's no right or wrong answer. Do you have a routine? Do you have a routine you play through? Do you start with scales? Do you start with long tones? Do you start with this? Do you do a certain order? Do you vary the order? That's a question to think about. It's important to have a routine to start doing things. Sometimes, though, you don't have time to do that. You may have to go right into doing what you need to get accomplished. Or some days, you may want to just stay on the routine the whole time. But you have to have some sort of sequence or order of things, at least for me, that makes it productive for my time. Does that make sense?
Sure.
How many of you have a routine? Do you know what I mean by routine?
Yeah.
How many have a routine? Okay, if you don't have one, you might want to think about it. If you have one, then you have to judge, is it effective now? Am I evolving? As I get better, am I evolving that routine to stimulate me to do better things, or harder things, or more musical things? Something to think about.
Yeah, got a question about that. Is there like any time interval that you would say is kind of optimal to see if
An
the
interval?
routine has made progress? Because it's not a week, right? That I'm implementing something.
One of the things about playing music, I always tell this to people that ask those kinds of questions. The great thing about playing, at least what I do, playing jazz, is that you're never done.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm going to play, say I'm missing a glass off this morning, I want to play the glass off, I want to play with the orchestra, I got it memorized, yeah. Once I get done with it, I kind of got done with it. Truthfully, it's never over because you got to keep your skills on it. I mean, it's never that simple. However, as an improviser, if I picked up and started playing a half Nelson again, it would be different than the time I just did. There would be some similarity, some carryover from one to the other, but it wouldn't be exactly the same. So what that means for me then is I can never be satisfied with what I'm doing. It's always like reaching for more. I can never sit back and say, I'm done. So with your routine, you have to decide, am I accomplishing what I want out of what I'm doing? And is it becoming so that I don't need to work on it that much? Do I need to expand?
Yeah, is it productive enough?
Yeah, again, these are questions you need to ask yourself. If you have a wise teacher, as a teacher who's hopefully not so wedded to their way of doing things only, that can guide you through the minefield of playing music, then that's ideal. That the person can be your check and balance. And then hopefully they have somebody, psychiatrists or people who do therapy. They have therapists, and that therapist probably has a therapist. The whole idea is to have somebody to talk with and to interchange with to make you think differently. All right. During what to cover in the routine, instrument challenges, technique. Most of us get so wedded to technique we don't do anything else. Can I play this or not? There's your long tones. Long tones, are they fun? I'm not
But
a
if
kid.
you think, I need to do this, or dynamic, or vibrato for this kind of piece, it depends what you need at this moment. It depends what I have on my stance. I have romantic, okay, I can do it on my long tones, and I practice. So the articulation, the beginning of the sound, the difference in dynamic, it depends what you need. You can do different things on a long tone.
Exactly, that's making what? A goal when you start to play. What's your goal? I gotta play this tune. For me, like I played Stardust in there. For me, that's playing long tones. I'll play a ballad. Say, yep, I'm afraid of that. Sorry. I'll use that as my long tones. If I want to learn a tune and I want to practice long tones, why not do a tune that makes me play, like that? So I have different ones like Skylarks, Stella, not Stella, but Stardust. That's Body and Soul. I use that as my long tone. Come on in. As my long tone exercise. So I'm doing that as opposed to sitting down and playing long tone. I'm sorry, that's no fun for me anymore. I used to enjoy it at one time, but I don't want to do that. I want to cut to the chase. I'm too old. I ain't got time to do that all the time. I'm also thinking of my intonation. When I'm doing it, I'll have a tuner on. But I'm realistic too. I can't always be perfectly in tune. No one plays perfectly in tune. And when I'm playing with the band, I have to be able to adjust to what's going on around me. All right, more things to think about. Technique, you're going to read during your practice time. Scales and chords. What scales and chords you're going to play? I'll give you an example of some of that in a minute. Patterns. I talked about the jazz language in the last thing we talked about. You go through and you learn ideas. You steal ideas from Charlie Parker or John Coltrane. Or you make up your own ideas, and you do them in all 12 keys. That's one thing, and I could be wrong in this, but I don't think so. Most classical players, they do scales and chords, arpeggios. They'll read them, or maybe do them from memory, which is great. But they rarely, I would think, take an idea out of a piece they're playing and do it in all 12 keys. I mean, am I wrong on that?
Probably you're right, that most of them, yes.
Don't do that. Only because it's not part of their discipline. That's not something they have to worry about. But if I'm playing somewhere and a singer comes up and they want to play a song in a different key, what do I say? Oh, excuse me, I only know it in this key. I got to be able to adapt. And if I screw up, I got to be able to do what? Manipulate. It's like having when you get in your car, you got your GPS going, right? And you make a wrong turn. What does the thing do? It recalculates. My brain's got to recalculate how I'm going to get through this song because she wants to sing in an A, and I know it in A flat. I mean, a half step shouldn't be a big problem, but it is for her and for me. I'm saying to her, it could be a guy too. So the issue is, I work on language and I go through all 12 keys. There's tons of books like that. You can read those. For me, I think it's better once you've gone through a book or two like that to make up your own or listen to people play. Remember we talked about listening this morning? I like that idea. Wow, what do they do? I want to take that idea and make it mine so I can use it when I want to play. So I'll do that. That's probably the biggest part of my playing. Then, you have to have some songs to play on. If you're doing traditional classical study, my guess is you're probably playing 3, maybe 4 pieces for the semester. Right. You may be doing an exercise book like a Fairling or whatever you're working on. You may do that. That's great. That's a lot of work because some of those pieces might be, 10 minutes long. That's a lot of playing. But for us as a jazz player, our songs can be as short or as long as we wish. We can improvise for hours. We can improvise short time period. What's the challenge for us is what to pick. And when you have a whole, plethora, a whole bunch of songs, which ones do I play? And I'm gonna come back to this in a minute. But there's a process that my friend Jerry Coker, who I was so lucky to study with, and he's like my musical Yoda. You guys have all seen Star Wars, right? He's the wise one. He sits there like this, and no, Mike, yes, Mike. And luckily, Jerry's still alive. And I've seen him recently, and he's still hanging in there. But Jerry has this concept, a vehicle concept. And what he talks about is being able to select certain types of songs that each one has a specific challenge for you, that once you work on that song, it will be integrated in other things that you do. Let me give you an example. You see the ones listed there. One is a blues. So you pick a blues. That's a specific kind of playing. I don't mean a blues like Marcelo Parker or one of those guys, or a blues. I'm talking about a blues that the jazz player would play. Not that he's not a jazz player, but you get what I'm talking about, playing lines and coming through the harmony. Play a blues. So think about a blues in your head in a minute. We'll talk about it. Then a rhythm tune. What that means is not rhythm like 1, 2, 3, 4, but I've got rhythm, based on I've got rhythm, which could be things like moose to mooch, or I've got rhythm, or oleo, things like that, or rhythm tunes. A different kind of approach to play. Another would be a standard. What's a standard? A standard would be a song, a tune, at least in the way we think, folks in the States and teachers like me, from the Great American Songbook. Tunes like Misty, Stella by Starlight, Cherokee, things of that nature. Most of them come from Broadway shows or were popular music in the 20s and 30s. They have typical form. It's a reason for doing it. So that's another different kind of playing. Another one is a ballad. Can a ballad be a standard? Yes, it can. But a ballad takes a specific kind of playing. You have to be able to have a nice sound. You got to be able to be expressive. All these kind of things. Each one of these call for you to play a specific way. Another one's a bebop tune. We all know what a bebop tune is? Name a bebop tune for me. Give me a name of a bebop tune.
Ornithology.
Ornithology is one. Give me another one. Somebody else besides him.
Anthropology.
What is it?
Anthropology.
Oh, anthropology. Well, give me another one.
Billy's Bounce.
Billy's Bounce. That's blues. That's a rhythm tune. That's a different. That's on High the Moon. You said, which one did you say?
Ornithology.
Yeah, on High the Moon.
Yeah.
So all of these are bebop tunes. How would you describe a bebop tune? How does it differ from a standard? Because How High the Moon is a standard, but Ornithology is a bebop tune. What makes it different?
The density of the changes.
Changes don't really change. It's a contrafact. A contrafact means a song written on the chord progression of another song. It's a contrafact. So what makes a bebop tune different than a standard?
Specific language, some chromaticism.
Come on, keep going. You're getting better now. Chromaticism, what else?
Beat of scales.
Maybe. Okay, let's go back. When you do a standard, what is the basic rhythmic value of the melody? Half note, quarter note, whole note, eighth note, what?
2 and 4.
Well, that's the rhythm. I'm talking about the notes of the melody, like when I played Body and Soul. They're usually longer. It's a song, right? And most standards will have words. Not all of them, but most of them will have words. A bebop tune is more like an etude.
Yeah.
Instead of being quarter note and half note, maybe whole note based, it's eighth note based. So it's moving quickly through chord progressions. So a bebop tune is more like an etude. A different challenge than playing a standard or a ballad, right? That makes sense? Okay, now we have a Latin tune. What makes a Latin tune different than everything else we've done?
The rhythm, right?
What about the rhythm? What makes it different?
They usually utilize like these typical, so to say.
Offbeat.
Yeah.
All right. Everything else is mainly swing-based,
Yeah.
right? A Latin tune is going to be
Oh yeah,
more
it's straight.
straight.
Right.
Instead of, you said 2 and 4, emphasis on 1 and 2. More like my Brazilian friends all had to educate me that we don't think in 4, we think in 2. So the girl from Ipanema is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's like you're walking. Once I got that in my head, it was like, oh, I get it. I see why you sound like that. So the harmony's the same. Ipanema, some other tunes in Brazil had the same changes as Take the A Train, which is by Duganelli, the first 8. So it's not so much the harmony, although harmony is affected, it's really the rhythmic feel. Then the last one is contemporary. These are all Jerry's categories except rhythm. Now I added that one. But contemporary, what does that mean? Nothing to do with date. It's nothing to do with time. Meaning chronological time. What do you think it means? Everything up until contemporary is based on what harmonic progression?
5/1.
Primary. 5/1, add one more to it.
2/5/1.
Yeah, most of them are 2/5/1 based, right? Contemporary tune will be one that's not based on 2/5/1s. Maiden Voyage would be a contemporary. So What, which is written in like 1958 or something like that, or 9, that would be a contemporary tune because it's not based on what? 2/5/1s. Now there's some songs that have 2/5/1s, like Giant Steps, that kind of, okay, that's an exception. That's a contemporary tune because the harmony is different. But you see what I'm getting at? Jerry, by his categorizing these types of tunes, gives you an opportunity to develop goals and to establish what you want to practice on when you practice. So what I do for students, if you were my students, you would come into your first lesson of the semester, and we would negotiate a contract. I would sit down with you and say, okay, what skills do you know? Say this is the first semester. And let's make it your 4th semester. You already know your major skills, your dominance, meaning mixed Lydian, right? Maybe you know your Lydian dominant. Maybe you already know your Dorian minor scales. So I said, okay, you do these scales you don't know. These chord progressions or arpeggios because you don't know them. Then we're going to say, okay, you need to know these patterns. So we negotiate what we're going to play on for the semester, and then we'll say what songs we're going to pick. Okay, so you guys are going to be one collective group. Give me a blues head. What blues are we going to play? You said what?
Blues bounce.
Blues bounce. Okay, we have blues and F. That's one. It's also a bebop tune, is it not? And blues bounce. Give me a rhythm tune. You just said anthropology, but it's another bebop tune. Let's not use anthropology. Maybe let's just use the melody of I've Got Rhythm. Boo doo doo dee doo doo dee da. Okay, that's 2. A standard. Give me a tune, standard.
Summertime.
Summertime? Summertime by George Gershwin, that would work. There's a standard. Give me a ballad. Come on, folks, it's not rocket science. Huh?
Sentimental mood.
In a sentimental mood, that's a good one. Because it has specific harmonic motion that's different than everything else. That's really good. Bebop tune, different than Billy's Bounce.
Confirmation.
Confirmation would be a good choice because the harmony goes in a different direction. Confirmation is another AABA form tune, but the melody is not the same. That's a very clever one. All right, so now we have Billy's Bounce, blues. We have I've Got Rhythm for rhythm. We got Summertime for a standard. We have In a Cinema Mood for a ballad. All right, Latin tune. Give me a Latin tune.
A girl from Ipanema.
Huh?
A girl from.
Girl from Ipanema. That's a good choice. Everybody needs to know that. All right, you got that one. Give me a contemporary tune. This is going to be harder.
So what?
Huh?
So what?
So What? Okay, now we got So What. So now we have our 7 tunes. That's what you work on this semester. That gives you what? Variety. That gives you a different approaches to harmony. Gives you different approaches to melody. It gives you an opportunity to hear other people play songs that are different. All right. It gives you, on your practice routine, it gives you enough that you can vary when you don't feel like, I don't want to play a ballad today. Well, then you practice your bebop tune. Maybe you're in that kind of mode where I got to practice on technique. There you go. But see what I'm getting at? It gives you an opportunity along with the other things you're doing. And now there's so many books that are out there that have etudes that are written on top of these progressions for you to play through. Tony DeGrati, Jim Steindaro, what else? Walt Weiskopf, they have tunes. They have books that are out there. They've taken these songs and other ones and written, like etudes on top of them that are very good to play. So you can practice that, plus do a transcription and work on the song yourself. You're triangulating how I'm going to learn the song. It's not just one way. Everybody follow me so far? Any questions? Any questions? Cool. All right, next thing. When you practice, it's really easy, if you're a jazz player, for some people to never do the nitty-gritty. You know what I mean by nitty-gritty? To where you have to learn the scales and all 12 keys. I know some people who play great C F, G, D. You give them A flat, man, they suck. You give them B flat, man, you don't want to hear it. So they don't want to really do the work, the grunt work, where you're really working all day long on specific things. Then I know other people, so what they're doing is they're just playing, improvising, which is cool. Then I know other people, like me, who will sit there and go and work on everything through all 12 keys until I have like no brain power left. I'm focusing all my energies on that, and I don't improvise. Two extremes, right? The one who just plays whatever they want to play in whatever key they know, and the other one who's working on what? Minutia. You got to get in the middle. You got to find some way to balance it out. You want to work on improvising every time. If you're going to be a jazz musician, you need to improvise every day. Think about how foolish. I'm a jazz musician, but you don't improvise except for when you're on the job. No, you're not. You can't play well enough to do that. It takes a variety and breadth of what you're doing. Or the other end of it is, all I'm doing is I'm working on these, patterns all the time. I can't apply it. You got to find a way of doing this. So by having these tunes selected like this, kind of forces you to come back home and say every day I'm going to play Billy's Bounce, and then I'm going to work on that head, but then I have to improvise on that tune as well. You follow me on this? We good with this? Okay. Transcriptions. The other thing that you can do is you could select, and I do this, well, I don't anymore because I'm not teaching at the school, but when I had a student come in, we would select one of those songs to find a transcription to work on. So if you're doing Billy's Bounce, instead of having bird solo, and you play tenor alto, you're alto. Okay, so we would maybe do it for you on alto, but maybe not. Maybe get Dexter Gordon's transcription of playing Billy's Bounce on tenor, because Dexter's going to sound different than Charlie Parker. And you work on a transcription that applies to that. And that's the hardest part for most students, because there's a lot of work involved. And you have to be able to write it down in Finale or Sibelius to where we can read it. I have a whole folder on my external drive of just transcriptions. Probably, I'm going to be ludicrous and say 100,000 transcriptions. I mean, I've collected them all over the years, and I have PDFs of all these transcriptions. Have I played all of them? No, of course not. I'm a collector. I like to collect things. But I have these here. But the whole thing is getting this and doing this and bidding it in your head. So when you're practicing, all of these play a role in how you spend your time. Can you do this every day? No. I mean, you can. There's 24 hours. If you have nothing else in your life to do, yeah. If you got that kind of dedication, but that makes it sound like it's a negative if you don't. If you have that kind of single-mindedness to doing something, okay. There are some people like that. I've met people like that. Man, I would hate to be them. Because life is more than that. Seeing the sunrise, instead of being in the practice room. But I'm not saying I don't miss it some days when I practice. All I'm saying is everything has to be in balance. Okay? Yesterday we were talking at dinner about, I forgot who it was on the plane said he couldn't practice. They're on a plane, or it was me for one thing. Somebody else mentioned about the train. Practicing away from your horn. There's stories of Coltrane being on an airplane with a stick. He's doing this. I don't doubt that. But I can't do that. I don't have the oral and physical connection to where I can do that. I just don't. But there's ways to practicing. What's a way of doing it? Listening. There was a little story I told a friend of mine. I have an apartment in my basement, and Derek was in there, and he wanted to be a jazz player, jazz musician. But when he got home from school, he'd turn on the Stones, or he'd turn on Motown, or he'd turn on some kind of pop thing, which is totally okay. I didn't care. But he came out of the room one day. I went, "So you want to be a jazz musician?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Excuse me, there's nothing wrong with listening to party music. Party music is party music. It's got a reason for being. But if you want to be a jazz musician, you should be listening to..." And he went, "Oh, yeah." He got it. So if you're away from the horn, you may have it, with our phones now, are the greatest things in the world and the most terrible things in the world. The good thing about it is, and you and your generation, you're living in right now, you can find any song you want that's available by pushing a button. And it's your decision to do it or not. So if you're away from your horn, what I'd be doing, you're playing Billy's Bounce or Summertime, I'd have as many recordings as I could of those in a row, and I'd listen to them over and over and over again. Not one time, 1,000 times. I want it to be like what gray power I have inside my brain left to implant that as much as possible. So practicing with your horn, listening is what I would suggest strongly. And thinking about it. What is Train doing here? Or what is Joel Fromm doing here? I've been listening to him a lot lately. I'm at my computer working on my website. Joel Fromm's playing. I'm like, man, I can't play like that. God, he sounds great. And I'm just listening, but I'm listening to the same song. How many of you ever done that? Listen to the same song 100 times? No? All right, one person. I can tell you, when I got home from a conference once, and I was they give away CDs, right? This is a long time ago. And I got this one by Michel Petrucciani. You might know who that is? He's a fantastic pianist. He's passed away. He had spina bifida. He was a small person. And he had to be put on the piano, and he had extensions on his legs to play the pedals. But this guy was unbelievable. And so I'm doing what I normally do. I'm working at the computer, and I've got music on, right? And it got to this one track, and it made me stop. And I listened to it. I couldn't believe. I said, I can't believe how beautiful this is. I can hear it right now in my head. He's playing, and the clarity of the piano, the way he touches the instrument, the way he waits to resolve the next beat, like I just did there, all of that, and the string arrangement behind it, it was just fantastic. I kept hitting repeat. I'm not ashamed to say I had a tear in my eye. It was so friggin' beautiful. I couldn't believe it. A person could do this. And I just kept hitting it and hitting it. And I know if I played that record now, I'd probably play it 3 or 4 times in a row, even though I know it. All right, next, the last thing, and probably the hardest. How do you assess what you just did? How do you come out and say, well, I did this well, or I didn't do this well? Most of us go to the dark side, right? If I ask a student, they get done playing, and I say, what do you think about that? Because I always do that. I never tell them what I think. What do you think? They go, I said, oh, come on, I'm serious. Well, I did this wrong. I did this. I wish I'd done that. I said, no, don't go to the dark side. Because you had to do something well. And you probably did more things well than you did poorly. It's easy for us to do that. We look for the negatives all the time. So, what do you do well? So, that's a good question. What do you do well? That's something you need to do before you even play. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Well, what are your strengths first? What do you like about your playing? What do you want to improve on? All those will do what? Determine what you're going to do for your goals, how you're going to progress through what you're doing. Does that make sense? But the assessment is the hard part. And again, I've had teachers where they never really tell you if you're okay or not. They just let you go, or they really come down on you like that. I don't find either one of those ways productive. There's a balance in it. But you have to decide, did I get what I got out of my practice time? Was it efficient? Did I use it wisely? Would I do it again that way? Are you overcritical? I guarantee, I would put money that everybody in this room is overcritical. How many people think they're playing as well as they can play? Don't raise your hands. Because you never are. You're always searching for more. But you do have strengths and weaknesses. And you probably have more strengths than you do weaknesses right now. But the weaknesses are the ones you're working on, so you're going to be aware of that. But like Magda said, what do you about your sound? Well, you keep working on those things before, but everything builds upon everything else. Okay? Any questions before we go on to the next thing? 'cause I wanna hear some of you play if I get a chance. We cool with that? All right. This next one is an explanation of that tune vehicle concept that Jerry had. Hopefully it comes up soon. It's working. And what I did is I took his idea, his philosophy, and I kind of expanded on it. Come on. So that you have a better explanation. There's a book, Improvising Jazz, the Jazz Language, and Listening to Jazz. These are all by Jerry. And I forget which book this comes out of. But I know when I studied with him, he used this. I guess our computer connection to your phone or whatever is slow.
I wasn't connected.
It's not
I think it
connected
just
here
stopped.
either. I wonder what it is. Well, it'll call up in a second. But the whole thing is, under this topic, it talks about that in more detail. It'll give you a list of tunes that if you're a more beginning student, and I hate to use the word beginning, but one who's starting to play jazz, and then one who's more accomplished. It'll give you that. But the opportunity to vary the type of songs you want to play is limitless. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't have to, oh, come on. Safari can't open that page. Let's try it again. Here we go. So this is, I'm talking about Jerry's way of doing it. And here it is down here, the blues. It talks about the history of it, why we're going through it. It gives an explanation. One of the things you need to be aware of when you're playing, do you always know the form of the song? For example, Body and Soul, what's the form of that song? It's A-A-B-A. Blue Bossa, is there a form? Yeah, it's 16 bars, that's it. So you need to know the form. And this goes on to it, it talks about all that stuff. Then down here, there you go, the novice, Bags Groove for Mr. PC, I Got Rhythm, Lesser Leaps In, Autumn Leaves, Lady Bird. These are all choices. Here's the more experienced person. Okay? And this could be, it's limitless. This is not, these are only an example. Then down here is Jerry's own his own words, and I copied those for that. So this is, I think this is really important to think about. It helps you select the material you want to select. It helps you get through having variety. It gives you challenges in different ways, how to approach a song. Any questions about that?
So the gist of it would be like using a sample of selected tunes to work on all the things that.
Yeah, and don't think you're going to do this. This would last a semester. This wouldn't be like 2 weeks. This is going to be a long-term process, and you focus your time on those tunes because they give you variety. There's 7 tunes, but it doesn't mean you can't play something else if you want to. That's still okay, your choice. But this is the core. This is the center, and everything grows from that. So say if you're playing, and all of a sudden you say, you know, I know that blues now. Cool. Guess what you do next? Another blues. And when I say know these tunes, what do you think I mean by that?
Well, the melody, the changes.
You know the melody, the changes. What else?
Like all keys, right?
I would maybe not all keys, but be able to do it in at least 2 or 3 different keys. What else?
Different styles or tempos.
You can try different styles. What else? There's a lot of variety here. Memorized. It's got to be memorized. Now, it's unrealistic to think you don't forget tunes. You may memorize a tune and then like a year later, I can't remember. Like I just messed up Besame Mucho. That's stupid. There I go to the dark side, right? That was stupid, yeah? We all do it. But the thing is, you learn the song, and you may have to refresh yourself as you go through. So you may be going back over this list as you keep going. The more you play it, the more it becomes ingrained in your head. But that's an important ingredient. Okay?
But how separate do you keep the things that are like, say, technical from the standards? Because you said that.
I don't mix it up that way. I just do it.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you talked about the long tones, right? You actually practice them via ballads,
yes.
right? So you do scales the same way? Or
No,
standards or
no,
something?
scales I'll
Yeah.
actually be more traditional way of doing it.
Okay.
This is not working. Come on, I know I'm not connected to the internet. All right,
Oh yeah, maybe you actually access those pages where.
I may have back some earlier,
Yeah, so
that's
they
what
were
I might have done. We won't have to worry about it, we get the point of what I'm talking about, right? Are we cool with what everything we've said, 'cause this will be on that page, you'll be able to find those easily. Like I said, when my new site, when it's refreshed, I like taking photographs. I have thousands of photographs on Flickr. I mean, tens of thousands of photographs. I just got back from a trip to Greece and Venice, and if I didn't play saxophone, guess what I would be doing? Photographer. So, when you see the new website, there'll be a lot of photographs. So don't let it be thinking it's any different. Just look at the top, go to Ed Materials, all the stuff will be there, you'll be able to find it. And it'll be cleaner in many ways. Not that you can't find it, there's a lot of stuff on there. So when you find that, feel free to utilize it. If you want to write to me, I'll be glad to help you understand it or work your way through it, okay? We're not done yet. I want to hear some of you play if you got your horns out. Do you have any questions or any thoughts about what we're doing?
You were about to talk about the reads.
Yeah, okay, the reads, I'll do that in a second. Any other thoughts besides that?
Maybe how you overcome stressful situations?
Drugs and alcohol, no. No, don't do that. I shouldn't say that, I'm being a jerk. That's a good question. Through my life, there's been times where it's like been really stressful playing. I found the most stress was when I was playing classical music, because I had to be exactly right. Here I'm allowed the latitude of, I got some latitude. I try my best just to try to get within myself. Like when I played Best in the Neutral, I picked my horn and started playing. I should have thought it through a second. Give yourself a moment to focus in on what you're doing. I try to do that. I try to breathe deeply. I do yoga every day. I started that probably, like I said, I'll be 72 on Christmas Day. So I started doing yoga probably when I was mid-50s. I wish I'd started when I was 30. I mean, there's things I can do that I never could have done when I was younger. I mean, like poses and stuff. But not just that. It's not just the physical part of it. It's the mental part of it, where you're really focusing on all the other stuff in your life goes away. You're just thinking about what you're doing in a moment. I know that sounds so corny, but we don't have enough time to talk about my philosophy of life. But there's things that, you can do to help get that kind of under control. But on the other hand, I do want a little bit of stress every time I play. Like if I'm going to go play somewhere, I'll pick a tune that I don't really know. Because it's going to make me do what? I got to think about that tune. It helps me let go of the other ones. When I ran the big band at school, we rehearsed all, 6 weeks, 7 weeks on the material. The week before the concert, I pulled something new out. Because I wanted them not to be just so overwhelmingly thinking of those tunes. I want them to be thinking about something else. So I want that little edge. But it's not always fun to be on the edge. So what you need to do to like chill out, and what I said earlier about drugs and alcohol, definitely don't do that. That only adds to the problem. But really think about what makes you feel composed, what makes you feel safe and able to relax. And if the other thing is, know what you're going to play. If you know it, then you should be able to relax and enjoy the moment. Nothing's more fun than when you play and you get that little tingle. Ooh, this is great. That's your drug. That's when you get that little thing, it's like, oh man, this feels great. That's what you do all the practice for. That's what you're seeking. Like Miles, there's an article, I never saw it, but I've heard about it 1,000 times, where here's her playing with Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, Wayne Shorter, and Tony Williams, and he says if I play, and he's playing every night, these great musicians. And he goes, if I play 15 seconds of new music a month, I feel satisfied. 15 or whatever he said, something like that. A ridiculous amount, low. What he was saying is he was looking for that one little moment that brought that special thing to him. That's what I seek all the time too, and it doesn't happen very often. But when it does happen, it's like, oh my gosh, this is great. So you have to know what you're doing, and then you finally know it, then you can relax and live in the moment. And be willing to accept your mistakes. Can any of you walk on water? No.
Yeah.
I'm born on
Unless it's frozen, right?
Christmas Day, and I'm certainly not like that. You know, we all make mistakes, we're all human. So be able to accept the fact that you're gonna make a mistake here and there. Once you let that go, you wanna play as well as you can and be as perfect, whatever that means. But we're not perfect. And be willing to accept and when it happens, just let it go. And, you know, once you start doing that, it makes it a little more acceptable of having, you know, a more enjoyable time playing. Because when we do what we do, it's a 4-letter word called play. And you want to enjoy that moment. If you can't enjoy it, then you might want to think about something else. Does that translate okay? What I'm saying? You want to enjoy it. Any other questions?
I just want to dwell a bit on that, practice and thing, because you always keep referring to like practicing when you are like in a mood or in a good place that actually pushes you to.
Well, there's going to be days when you have to kind of push it a little bit.
Yeah,
But
I don't only mean days, but also things, right? Because you said that. Well, sometimes I don't feel like playing a ballad, right? So I'll work on some rhythm changes or whatnot. But it usually like comes down to things that we don't want to do any day, right?
Well,
Because
that's
they're not
a
working,
part
right?
of these.
So that's like this one
Yeah,
thing that we gotta push ourselves.
you do.
Through,
You
right.
have to do it. Like I said, some days when you just don't want to do it, then just maybe not do it. Be kind to yourself and do something else, and you'll want to come back. I guarantee you, there was a time in my life where, I won't go into the whole thing, I got pretty pissed off at my dad. Because he did something, and he was right, and I knew he was right, and I couldn't accept it. I was real young. And I told him, I said, I'm not going to play my horn anymore. Because I knew he loved me playing.
Yeah.
Okay. So a summer went by. I didn't play. I was in high school still. And so finally school started, and I said, Dad, can I play my horn? He goes, that was your choice, not mine. You know, my dad didn't go to college, but he was a pretty wise man. He goes, that was your choice. You chose to be that way. You don't have to be like that. Well, I choose when I want to play. You know, you have to make these choices. And sometimes it's just like, I can't play. Okay, and then other days you can't stop playing. Well, then do you make that day shorter because you want to keep them all the same? No, you take a moment. So it's just about being and thinking about what you want in the moment. But yeah, you want to push yourself. Okay, about the reeds. He was asking, your name is?
Adam.
What is it?
Adam.
Adam, okay. Why I use a pill bottle. I prepare I don't know, you probably prepare your reeds too. I get a bunch of reeds, 4 typically. I have a pill bottle, a little bigger one at home. I put water in it. I put it in the microwave. I get the water boiling. Then when it starts boiling, I stop. I pull the bottle out. I stick my reeds in it. I put the top on top of it. All right? Because I want the reeds to be balanced moisture-wise through the whole thing.
But you
From the
stick
tip
them in a
to the
boiling
end.
water.
So it's in plain water. I'll let them in there. And then I will take one out at a time. I'll play on it 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then I'll lay it out and do the other ones that way. And then I'll put them back. Then I pour the water out of the bottle. All right? The bottle is probably still warm. And I put the reeds back in the bottle. I don't dry the bottle out. The bottle still has moisture in it. I put the top on it. So it's like being in the jungle. You got this humidity in there.
Yeah.
So the reeds sit there. All right? And then I'll take it out and I'll repeat the next day. I won't put new water in it. I'll just use the water, the humidity that's in there. Close the bottle up when I'm not using it. I play the reed, and then I might sand it on the back and on the top. And usually it works. So I'll leave it like that. There's probably not water in the bottle, but there's humidity in the reed, and it's not dry. Now that reed's gonna be dry because it's been sitting next to that projector. But the reeds pretty much stay balanced. They never curl. And I'm okay. The only problem is If I don't play every day, guess what happens?
Humidity goes up, right?
What?
Or do they like go bad,
What do you mean by bad?
like moldy and stuff?
Yes, they go mold. So I gotta take them out every day. I gotta get them out every day and make sure they don't get moldy. Like on this trip over here, I knew on the plane, so I gotta take the reeds out when I get here, wipe them off to make sure there's no mold on it. But yeah, it's funky, but that's what I do, and I'm usually fairly successful with having reeds. I usually, out of a box, I probably have 3 reeds I can use, maybe 4. So I work with Dario, and I get reeds there, and they tend to work for me. And seriously, look at that if you were in the class this morning, look on that page where it says saxophone equipment, and you'll see all the different reeds people use, and whether they've changed or not since then, doesn't matter. All you're gonna see is, here's a lot of similar, like a lot of people play a horn like that, Mark 6, a lot of people do this, a lot of people do that, you know, and the odds are, if you do what they're doing, you're probably gonna be doing something okay. If not, you might wanna experiment with it. Okay? All right, how many of you would like to play? I'll play piano. Okay, you got your horn out, let's do it. We can play tunes, we can do whatever you want. Play a blues? How about all of us just play a blues? Does that sound okay? You cool with that?
Bye. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. What did you like about that?
I don't know. Well, I guess not much, but that would
Ah,
go into
what did he
another
do?
place. Yeah.
Where did he go? All right. Give me something you liked about it. Did you drop your horn? No.
No.
That's a good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No, come
Yeah.
on, give me something good.
Yeah, I kept say.
You
didn't-
played safe, yeah?
Yeah.
What else? Was it a nice sound?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was-
Is that your sound?
Yeah.
That's your
Just
sound
like-
today. How old are you?
Close to 30.
Okay, so at 50, you're gonna sound different.
Yeah.
At 32, you sound different.
Yeah.
So be happy with what you are. Is this my sound? This is what I sound like. I'm okay with that.
Uh-huh.
There's 2 or 3 good things you said right there. Now, are they the things you want? Maybe not right now, but
Yeah.
the things you are. What do you want to do differently? One thing.
One thing. Well, I like to get the double time feel or whatever to
Okay?
want to
So
play
that's a
in.
goal. It's
Yeah.
a practice habit. Okay.
Yeah. Or
All right, cool.
yeah.
You want to try it again?
well, yeah, I guess.
It's a simple
just-
yes or no.
I guess I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay,
that's
you're
how other
fine.
people play. Yeah.
All right. Who else wants to play? All right, who else wants to play? Come on, who has their horn out? Young lady, you got your horn out right there. Come on. Come on. Hey, one of the things I said this morning about how people compare themselves when you hear other people play, don't do that. You are who you are, where you are right now. It's okay. All right? What key do you want to play in?
In F?
In F?
Yes.
You want to blow a note because your horn's been sitting there the whole time. Your reed's probably dry. You want to try it? It's okay?
Okay.
You want to tune up? Okay, you good with that? Count off a tempo.
1, 2, 3.
What did you like about it?
I don't know.
No, come on, what comes to mind? It could be, man, I'm enjoying playing. That's a good thing right there,
Yes.
right? It was kind of fun, wasn't it? So what did you like about your playing? You're the teacher. You have to, you don't want to be sitting there.
I like maybe sound.
You liked your sound? What about your sound did you like? This is how I teach. I ask you questions to get to the answers instead of me telling you the answer. So, I'm sorry, that's...
So the worst part comes after playing, actually.
No, I thought your sound was fine. I thought you were probably a little hesitant at first to play out, but you did well on that. And you kept your place in the tune, right? I changed some things on you and you did fine with that. No, there were a lot of good things. What would you like to do differently if you could?
I think that I would play more rhythmically.
More variety rhythmically?
And yes.
Okay, well, that's a goal to work on then. Cool, thank you. Next, who else go next? Sure. Anybody wants to play, I'm here. I got nowhere else to go. You want to tune up? What key?
I don't know.
Well, if you don't know, I don't know.
Okay.
You know a blues?
But Billy's bounce.
Blues bounce, so you want to do it in F?
And in F, yeah.
Okay. Count off. You want to play the head for me? Play the melody. You said you knew Billy's bounce. Play the melody for me.
I play tune?
Yeah.
Okay.
Be more specific. You just can't tell me I like it.
Okay.
Did you play the head well?
No.
Did you play the melody?
I don't like my sound.
You don't?
Yeah. Because
don't go there yet. What did you like about what you did first?
Okay.
Did you play the melody well?
Yeah.
Yes, you did. You played the melody very well.
Yeah.
Is your articulation the type of articulation that a
it's
jazz
hard.
player plays?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
So what about your sound don't you like?
Okay.
What about your sound don't you like? You said you didn't like your sound. What about it do you want to be different about?
Co ci się nie podoba?
Okay. Czyli dobrze myślę. Me in my sound, because I think so is not good. I start study in jazz and I don't know in kindergarten. In October.
So you play classical music first? And then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
play
and
jazz.
I finish classic music and I really need this.
Okay, well, obviously you have technique because you played on the melody well,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
have that.
yeah.
The sound, I didn't have any objection to the sound. If you don't like it, that's your decision
Uh-huh.
that you need to think about.
Yeah.
How do you want it to be different? Do you want it bigger? Do you want this? You want that?
Yeah.
You just have to kind of think of what you want your sound to be like. But I think right now, you're on the right path. I would just keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Cool?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Next. Come on. What key you want to play in?
F.
F?
In F.
Okay. Okay, you give a melody.
Okay. So maybe straight no chaser.
Cool. Counter off.
1, 2, 1.
I messed with you, didn't I? Good. Yeah. What did I do? Did you hear it?
Just skip some bars, I
I didn't
suppose.
skip some bars, but I did something different. Anybody know what I did?
Yeah, this was like different progression, but I
Yeah. You
don't
didn't
know
what it
which
was?
one.
I thought you might have known. It's this one here.
Yeah,
What is it?
2/5 to parallel
It's
minor.
a bunch
and-
of 2/5s.
Yeah.
There's a special blues that's called. Anybody know what that is? It's blues for Alice, bird blues.
Okay.
So that's okay. You heard that something was different. You were fishing for it. You would know where to find it. That tells us a couple things. You need to know the options. Like if I do this, as opposed to this has a whole different sound to it, doesn't it? It just opens it up. So you need to know, okay, he's doing this because he can do that. He's doing a bird blues here at the end. So instead of being a dominant seventh, it's a major seventh. Then a bunch of 2/5s. You heard that. So when you go through, you need to know in your head, oh, that's what it is. And I played it twice for you, thinking you might have a chance to pick up on it, and that's okay. So that's something to practice on. What are our options? What are the possibilities that it might be different than what he's playing already? All right. What good things did you do?
Well, I enjoyed some simple ideas
Mhm.
based on 2 or 3 notes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe the bluesy mood in the solo.
It's hard to come up with things that we think we do right, right? If
Yeah.
I go, tell me what you didn't do well, man, bam, 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 right? But the things you work on, you practice on, you need to be able to acknowledge that. I'm doing this well. I'll do it better, but I'm doing this well. I'm working, this is pretty good. This came out, I've been working on this. Now I still gotta work on this. That's a whole different thing than saying, man, I didn't play this good. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than working and putting your time in on something and then not feeling like you've accomplished anything. Okay, good. So keep working on those things. All right. Anybody else want to play? You guys back there want to play?
Not really.
Well, it's up to you. I'm only going to be here for another 2 days.
I'm
I'll play whatever you want to play.
I don't classical music, but I can try.
Yeah, come on up. What key do you feel? How about
D minor, please.
G minor?
D.
D minor?
Yes.
You just want to play in the key of D minor?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just do that. So, your D minor or my D minor?
My.
Your D minor. It's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
You always gotta tell somebody what key, you know. You want to tune up? All right? Oh, sorry. Now, if you're playing in D minor, what minor key are you thinking about? You got harmonic, you got melodic, you got pure minor, aeolian,
Melody.
and you have Dorian minor.
Dorian.
Okay, so how many sharps or flats are in Dorian?
1. 0?
0.
Just.
No, yeah, the major third would you wouldn't work. The F sharp and the C sharp, that's really like playing melodic minor, which is okay. But let's just play in Dorian minor, no sharps or flats.
Okay.
2, Great. So what did I do? I didn't stay in F all the time, did I?
No.
I did what then?
You change chords.
I just changed keys. I changed chords to ones that were not far away from what you're doing. So I'm doing your D minor here. Then I went to your G minor. How many notes are different from G minor to D minor? Just one.
1.
And then I eventually went to your C minor, which has 2 notes different. Then I went and back to D minor. So the good thing that your name is
Marcel.
Maxel?
Marcel.
Martel. Good thing he did is he listened, he heard it, and he avoided it. And when he made a mistake or made a wrong judgment, he adjusted for it. Dude, that was good.
Thank
Good
you.
for you. So what do you want to work on? You think you need to work on as a classical player?
Yeah, I want to change my style of playing to more jazzy.
Okay, be specific. What do you mean by that?
I want to play more jazz tunes.
Okay, but by playing an instrument though, I'll just cut to the chase. You need to get your sound to sound more like a jazz player, which means you might need to change your setup.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not gonna change the sound. That'll change how you get it. It's in your head. Who do you listen to jazz-wise?
Mostly Stan Getz.
Okay,
For-
Stan Getz plays tenor.
Yeah,
Right.
I know it.
Okay,
I've got tenor, but I
Okay.
didn't bring it today. Also for Sanders. And lots of like unpopular
Sure, that's okay.
musicians.
one of the things all of you might wanna consider doing if you really wanna work on this kind of music and you really wanna focus on improving your jazz playing. I did this one summer. All I listened to for this summer was Dexter Gordon. That was it. And that's when in the old days in your car and you had a cassette player, not a CD or not an MP3 for sure, but it had a cassette. So I'd make all these cassettes, only Dexter Gordon. And I was teaching at a school that was an hour and 20 minutes away from my house. So I got in a car and I would just listen to him for an hour and a half. I absorbed that sound in my head. You may want to think about doing something like that, where you find one player, maybe two, and just immerse yourself in that. Overeat. You're eating only Charlie Parker or Cannonball Adderley or Stan Getz or Pharoah Sanders, and just do that over and over again. You'd be surprised. It'll start to help you change because you'll start to hear it.
Okay.
Good for you. Good start. You might want to think about when you're listening to them, how they articulate. Because you're articulating like somebody coming from the classical tradition where it's too much tongue, where it's got to be less tongue going on.
Okay.
Cool, man.
Thank you so
Good for
much.
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to play? No? There's nobody else that wants to play. I scared you all away, huh?